responsibility of government alone. It is the responsibility of all who share in Ghana's dream. Real progress happens when leadership and every mind has a role to play. No government, however committed, can build a nation alone. And private, national, technical, and civic, bound by effort, the government monitoring and accountability, ensuring that the plan remains a living instrument that adapts and endures. As we begin today's proceedings, may this launch symbolize the beginning of a renewed era of vision, continuity, and courage in national development. On behalf of the National Development Planning Commission, I once again welcome you all to this defining moment. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Audrey Smoke-Amoah, Acting Director General of the NDPC, for your welcome remarks. And talking of NDPC, we are live on Facebook, so you can go and follow us if you aren't following us already, and send a link to your friends to let them know that this is where you are, and on GTV as well. We'll now take a statement from the Ministry of Finance, and it will be presented by Deputy Minister for Finance and MP for Esujaman in the Eastern Region. Let's welcome Honorable Thomas Nyako Ampem.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, the Acting Chief Justice, our service commanders, Ministers of State, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from my boss, the Honorable Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasil Atoforsen, on whose behalf I stand here today. As a ministry, we feel honored to stand in solidarity with the National Development Planning Commission for the launch of the Ghana Infrastructure Plan, a milestone that marks a decisive step towards transforming our nation's infrastructure landscape and accelerating Ghana's journey towards sustainable, inclusive growth. We congratulate the NDPC for delivering this critical framework, one that will guide our efforts to reset and build Ghana's infrastructure for generations. On 20th May 2025, when His Excellency President Mahama inaugurated the members of the 8th National Development Planning Commission, he underscored the importance of a unified, long-term plan that transcends political cycles. Today's occasion gives concrete meaning to that clarion call. The long-term Ghana Infrastructure Plan being launched is a direct that views infrastructure as connectivity, opportunity, and dignity for our people. With this plan, the future of the situation provides a platform from which to foster and fund a big push for infrastructure instead of the usual piecemeal efforts. From the perspective of the Ministry of Finance, the link between quality infrastructure and national prosperity is indisputable. Infrastructure investment stimulates short-term growth and lays the foundation for long-term development. According to the World Bank's Global Infrastructure Hub, every cedi invested in infrastructure can generate a fiscal multiplier of 0.8 within a year and 1.5 over 2 to 5 years. Yet, historically, Ghana has underinvested in this vital sector, leading to critical deficits that constrain economic potential. Our resource envelope has been squeezed by the impact of macroeconomic instability and reduced access to external capital markets. Meanwhile, demographic changes, including rapid urbanization and a growing youth population, have intensified demand for modern infrastructure. By 2050, Ghana's population is projected to reach 50.2 million people, up from 19.6 million in the year 2000. Over 10 million young people will enter the labor market between now and 2040. These trends demand bold, strategic, and to meet our most pressing infrastructure needs and catch up with our peers in the world, we need to increase our infrastructure assets in key areas. Expanding our infrastructure and addressing the infrastructure deficit requires advanced resources. This Ghana infrastructure plan does just that, providing clear insight. How can we integrate infrastructure systems to maximize efficiency? How much will they cost? And how can we sustainably finance them? The Ministry of Finance warmly welcomes the Ghana Infrastructure Plan. Our next focus must be on fulfilling 3 critical imperatives: collaborating financing, effective coordinating to co-lead in all fronts. Infrastructure financing is a foremost priority of President Mahama's government. We are therefore focused on fostering a balanced mix of financing from both public and private sources. From the public sector space this year, under the Big Push initiative, we have allocated 13.9 billion cedis, part of a $10 billion medium-term programmed financing sourced through reallocated petroleum revenues and mineral royalties. This is aside the normal CAPEX allocations to MDAs. And there is every indication, in fact, we are under directives to ensure that we more than double the allocation for the Big Push in 2026. We are also strengthening the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIP, to serve as a key vehicle for blended financing, viability gap funding, as well as to leverage equity and attract development finance institutions and private investments. Given the fiscal constraints, public-private partnerships are indispensable. We are therefore seeking to roll out a reformed PPP framework that participation will certainly reposition us to address the significant but hidden or unplanned cost of operating and maintaining infrastructure. Equally affirms our recent public financial management reforms. Our resolve is further strengthened in the knowledge that achieving expenditure efficiency and value for money, especially in energy and the road sectors, will create fiscal space to implement this plan. The Ghana Infrastructure Plan will also enhance coordination, a challenge that has too often plagued infrastructure-oriented investments. For example, infrastructure built outside budget systems or without integration and linkages, leading to costly delays. Far too often, Ghanaians have denounced a ban plan has a strong potential to respond to this cry and address that systemic inefficiency. We are in a better position to ensure continuity, responding to also work all publicly funded, ensure continuity of project. A grand vision which needs to be effectively communicated to its intended beneficiaries. Beyond today, investment engagements with key stakeholders. This will secure not only popular and ties private sector partnerships for the implementation of the plan. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, centered infrastructure the quality. The Ministry of Finance is eager to work with the NDPC and others to sustain our focus on long-term infrastructure development. The Ghana Infrastructure Plan will respond to the timeless wisdom by failing to plan. But we must be reminded that is now our collective responsibility. The Ministry of Finance stands ready to co-lead the execution. Together, let us join hands to build a modern infrastructure that enhances connectivity and trade. Let us join hands together to improve quality of life through access to essential services. And let us join hands together to position Ghana as a hub for sustainable investment in Africa through infrastructure development. These are the pillars of Ghana's economic transformation. We commend you, the NDPC, for your leadership and vision, and we thank His Excellency President Mahama for his foresight and enduring commitment to building our nation. May God.
Thank you very much, Honorable Thomas Nyakwampim, Deputy Finance Minister, for your statement from the Ministry of Finance. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you a short movie. Sadly, there'll be no popcorn or hot dogs, but at the end, I'm sure you'll be clapping. So this is a video of the Ghana Infrastructure Plan. Enjoy.
With a population of 30 million people, it is projected that Ghana's population will rise to 57 million by its centenary year of 2057. Since independence, Ghana has progressively made strides in modernizing and expanding its infrastructure stock, including roads, telecommunications, and ports. However, these investments have not spared the desired industrial growth and economic transformation, as services such as water, sanitation, and electricity still lag behind for citizens and industry. Presently, the country has a transportation system dominated by road transport, limited rail coverage that serves only the southern part of the country, one international airport, and two large, old, inefficient, and in need of replacement. Clean energy has remained underdeveloped, and the mining and sewage systems have also come under increasing pressure because of the population growth. Certainly, these deficits need to be reversed quickly to set the country on track towards the transformation agenda as outlined in the vision of the Ghana at 100 policy framework. The National Development Planning Commission launched the Ghana Infrastructure Plan in 2018. The plan encapsulates Ghana's long-term vision in strategic direction for infrastructure development within a 30-year planning horizon. Prioritization: Mata Road Network, 153,000 kilometers, $22 billion in the bus rapid transit system to increase use of public transportation in major urban areas. Additional bus routes will be created to connect major cities. Intelligent transportation systems and electric vehicles will be into traffic and accidents by 90%. The vision of the aviation sector is to position Ghana as the preferred aviation hub for business in West Africa. The Kotoka International Airport has recently been expanded to make it one of the best connected countries in the world. Will be completed to open up opportunities and connections to Ghana. Smaller airports such as the Sunyani and Takoradi airports and tourism purposes, multimodal transport, and contribute affordable and sustainable $1 billion to support current and leading container hub of the ECOWAS region, and Takoradi as the dominant oil and gas services hub. The Ghana Infrastructure Plan seeks to encourage inland transit to support domestic parcel of land in the Ashanti region, to support trade with other landlocked countries, and the development of the Buipe and Akosombo ports to facilitate inland transport. Rail transport currently forms less than 1% of Ghana's transportation modal mix for passenger transport and 3% for freight. Over the next 30 years, a $26 billion network rail enhancement program will increase Ghana's rail network from 947 kilometers to 4,007 kilometers across the entire country. The construction of the 84-kilometer railway line enable transport system. Over 35% over the next 3 decades, the vision for the ICT sector is to build a high-capacity digital infrastructure to drive economic growth, improve governance, enhance competitiveness, and support social development. National internet penetration is expected to double by 2047, as the government plans to invest $2.6 million to improve fiber optic connectivity across the country. Public places such as hospitals, schools, public parks, and business operating centers, including government services, will have access to ultra-fast broadband services. A well-functioning housing market is linked to the wider health of the economy. However, for decades, housing supply has not kept pace with the increasing demand from the growing population. The government is committed to increasing housing supply through infrastructure investment, urban regeneration programs, as well as new residential developments. Plans are underway to launch the National Urban Regeneration Program to breathe life into poorly developed land to be used for housing. This will not only be the highest
The Black Star Stadium is a futuristic facility that will be built under Ghana's long-term national development plan to host a major international sporting event such as the FIFA World Cup or the Olympic Games. To France, the stadium's state-of-the-art features will draw from the best of the 21st century technology, engineering, and architecture. It will be eco-friendly and a powerhouse of social, economic, and sporting activities. The entire roof will be made up of solar panels to provide electricity for the stadium. Solid and liquid waste generated at the stadium will be recycled to provide additional energy. There will be 4,000 underground parking spaces equivalent to a 4-story building. The 5 points of the star will contain the following: a hotel, offices, conference facilities, entertainment facilities, recreational facilities, shops, restaurants, a world-class sports medicine and research facility, and a national sports museum. The stadium will be linked by road and rail as part of the National Rail and Highways network that will go through all 10 regional capitals. The Black Star Stadium is expected to attract millions of tourists every year from within and outside Ghana. It will provide thousands of jobs directly and indirectly to the youth of Ghana. The future of Ghana. Dream it, plan it, live it. Brought to you.
I said one video, I got you two. So, and the applause did count, so clap yourselves again. That was good. Hinted here, because next we have a presentation on infrastructure, economic growth, and national development, the Ghanaian experience, and the way forward. Our speaker is chairman of the NDPC and senior advisor to the president on the Sustainable Development Goals. Let's welcome Dr. Nimoy Thompson. We're live on GTV, on Free to Air, and also on Facebook. On Facebook, we're live on NDPC's channel as well. And this is the launch of Ghana Infrastructure Plan. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. President, Chief Justice, leadership of Parliament, honorable members of Parliament, the leadership and members of the Parliamentary Committee on the Economy and Development, heads of various state agencies, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you on behalf of the members and staff of the National Development Planning Commission. Development, they say, is history, and so I'm going to start with a little bit of history. Mr. President, in 1965, the government of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah launched what was the first ever infrastructure, fiscal, and industrial development plan for Ghana. It was also the first in Africa. Among other things, the plan aimed to extend the Temamoto Way to Paga in the north through Kumasi by 1970. It also sought to modernize our cities and towns and ensure that industrial activities were spread equitably across the country. This, he envisioned, will be the foundation of Ghana's economic transformation, which began in 1955 under his leadership with the Industrial 66 coup, along with the famous 7-year development plan that it was to support. And thus began a decades-long decline in infrastructure, human settlements planning, and indeed the Ghanaian economy itself. Today, it is 95% of our technical staff, where the Commission began putting together the Ghana Infrastructure Plan as part of the preparation of Ghana's long-term national development plan. And I remember being worried that Ghanaians were going to oppose that. So I actually went to Professor Botwe, who was then the chairman, and I said, and so it stuck. Both were meant to guide development policies of successive governments through medium-term and annual action plans, creating jobs and building the plan was implemented in any meaningful way. And here we are 10 years later, seeking to pick up the pieces. Mr. President, when you inaugurated the current commission earlier this year, you read the previous government that would be flexible enough to guide the preparation of political parties' manifestos, but also strategic enough to keep our eyes on the higher objectives of development, such as the eradication of poverty and the fostering of a just and prosperous society. It is significant that you have been summoned, Mr. President, by fate and history to join us today to finish the work that you started a decade ago. I congratulate you, Mr. President. The launching of the infrastructure plan today is the review and incorporation 100 and the long-term national development perspective framework, all of which were prepared by the MPP government. By the end of 2026, we expect to have a composite roadmap to economic transformation and shared prosperity. Now, I know some of you are wondering why we need a long-term development plan in the first place. When we may make some progress here and there, but it will be planning. And our development challenges the economy every 10 years as part of their prospective plan. In the end, they actually doubled it every 7 years. That's because long-term plans help you to mobilize resources in the population behind you. Long-term planning, again, provides strategic path to growth and prosperity. For example, for our economy, it was invented 8 years late, but as they say, better late than never. It's to give you an idea that having a long-term plan does not preclude the implementation of certain